Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce presents the Bowie Business Journal, a program designed to keep our community informed about important business and economic issues.
Hello and welcome to the Bowie Business Journal. I'm your host, David Emanuel, and I'm also the new Executive Director for the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us, and also a thank you to Kelly Pierce, our outgoing and former Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce. She is now retired, and I hope she is enjoying retirement. She leaves behind a wonderful legacy. She did some very hard work with the Chamber and this cable show, and she did a lot of heart work. She put her heart and soul into everything she did. And I hope I can only live up to filling her shoes and admirably taking over this position. So thank you, Kelly, for everything. So this is my first show, and my first guest today is JCDawson. Welcome to our show.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it.
And let me make sure I've got the business correct. There's a lot of words in your business here. I love it. It's Sperry Van Ness, JCDawson, Global Real Estate.
That's right.
Is that right? Okay.
That's right.
Can you first tell us a little bit about the business itself, and then we'll go into where you came into it and how the whole this business has evolved. It's a very unique business you have.
Sure. Yeah, it's we're a commercial real estate services firm. Mm-hmm. We're a small group here in the Washington D.C. market. Primary focus is on office leasing and tenant representation and investment sales, and we call ourselves advisors.
Okay. And how it started off as its own company, and then you merged, or how did that work exactly?
Sure,
it's
yeah.
Pretty interesting.
So I've worked with some pretty large organizations over the last 16 years or so. Last year, May 2013, I stepped out on my own to start my own firm, JCDawson Global Solutions. After doing a lot of research, I was able to affiliate with Sperry Van Ness,
okay,
which is a franchise, commercial real estate franchise in 180 different markets in 38 or 40 different states. And so I'm now part of that organization as of April.
That's fantastic. Tell us a little bit of exactly what it is you do and what the company does, exactly what people can expect when they contact you.
Sure. My role in what I do is try to bring real estate expertise to commercial investors and users. So whether an organization or an individual is trying to buy or sell or lease commercial real estate product, we're an organization that helps them find the right solutions to maximize their returns on investment or help their business grow.
So you have to get involved and know pretty much front to back their business. So it's not, everything you're getting involved with, there's so many different businesses that you've got to kind of keep track of constantly, and that's one of the things I think that makes you unique. It was fascinating when I was reading about you and about the company and what you do. Can you give like a specific of something of like a recent achievement that you're proud of, and to explain the details of what
you're exactly right, David. The goal is not just to execute a transaction, but it's really to be a trusted advisor for a client. And in order to do that, you have to understand what their business goals and objectives are, what's the mission of the organization, and then always have the opportunity to track the real estate back to the mission. So the real estate shouldn't drive the business should drive the real estate decisions. For example, worked with a not-for-profit recently here in Prince George's County. They're looking to grow and expand their business. And they needed another location that fit certain business parameters. In other words, how to attract, it's actually an immersion program for kids, language immersion. And so they needed to understand where to put their new location to accommodate the target market they were going after.
Okay. Do they come to you with ideas, or is that your job to give them ideas? In other words, do they say, here's what we want, Jerry, can you do this for us? Or they give you like their game plan, for example, and then it's up to you? How much of it is determined by their needs versus what you're giving them?
It's all driven by the client.
Okay.
It's a client-focused business. If I am not providing the type of service and getting the results that a client needs for their business, I'm not really doing a good job for them.
Okay.
And so the client really drives what their goals and objectives are. It's my responsibility to take and translate that into real estate opportunities, what that means from a real estate standpoint.
Okay. And again, describe too, Jerry, what makes it so unique, because it's a very unique industry that you're in. You're in real estate, but it's how you do this that makes you sort of stand out from some of the others, and obviously why you're a part of that. What?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. As I was looking at different companies to affiliate with, Sperry Van Ness stood out for a couple of reasons, and one reason had to do with its core covenants. And there are about 12 or so core covenants that the organization abides by and makes part of its culture. But for me, it's having this whole concept of collaboration. So I may be here in Bowie, Maryland or Washington, D.C. working, but I have a network of individuals who have a vested interest in my success as well as their own. And so it's no problem for me to reach out with a question or a concern that I may have to bring a solution to a client, because it's about collaboration and doing what's best for the client and their needs and goals and objectives. And you know, we even look at it in the way that we address ourselves. We don't, you look at our business cards, it doesn't say broker, it says advisor, because that's the approach we want to take. Is we really want our clients to talk to us about everything that's going on, whether it's, you know, business employees or what have you, because we feel that we can add value, especially when it comes to real estate decisions.
You talked about, too, collaboration, very important, and obviously that leads to networking, and that's such an important thing in the business industry today especially, and it's also very vital to the chamber. Can you talk more about why that is so vital, this collaboration and networking and just getting to know other businesses?
Absolutely. In commercial real estate, I think every professional knows it's a relationship business, and joining the chamber was important to me because it gave me an instant opportunity to meet other business owners, to understand what's going on in the community and to be a part of it, versus sitting back on the sidelines waiting for things to happen, but to help engage and to help others be successful.
And I think that's a great point. Some businesses out there probably do just what you said. They wait on the sidelines to see what happens rather than getting involved right away, and that's so critical. Again, when you talk about the networking and working together and being part of the chamber, what has that meant to you in terms of your growth and personally, you know, with your business?
Well, you know, this business is only about 4 months old as far as starting with Sperry Van Ness, so it takes a little time to get things going up. I'm clearly in a business startup mode, but having that affiliation with the Greater Bowie Chamber, again, like I said, it allows me to meet great people like Kelly, like yourself, like others who I sit on committees with and understand better what they do and how they do it. And you know, the more I learn, the more value I can add.
What's the toughest thing about being sort of the new kid on the block? Like you say, 4 months is new and fresh. I'm just 20 days into my position now.
Absolutely.
But can you talk about why that's a great thing at the same time as it's very challenging? You know, being new has a lot of advantages.
Absolutely. Again, it goes back to relationships, and business owners and investors, they've established relationships, and so as the new kid on the block, as you've mentioned it's about bringing something different, bringing a value add, something that they may not have thought about before, and having the opportunity, just a new set of eyes, a new way of looking at real estate and being creative about it. You know, it's interesting. I once heard a consultant who had her small business, and she talked about how she brainstorms with her team, and this is the way I try to approach things. She says, you know, you go into a meeting and you're brainstorming ideas, and someone always puts something out there that everyone laughs at. She says that's when she takes a step back and say, okay, let's explore that opportunity. Why did you mention it? Why did you bring it up? Because there's something there that is creative. And so if you approach every opportunity thinking a little bit creatively, you can really find solutions that you may not think about because you're along this rutted path that everyone goes. It's how do you
Right.
step out and do something a little different.
Right. Yeah. What's the phrase? It's there's no. The only dumb question is a question not asked, or something like that. Ask a
Exactly.
question or give an
Exactly.
idea. Don't just sit there on the sidelines like you
Exactly.
said earlier. And in the notes too, I know you've been in the business since 1998. So that's 16 years if I did the math right.
Right.
What got you started into such a unique business such as it? Was it something you always wanted to do? Was it something, early on, like I really want to get into something like this, or did this just happen?
Sure.
Talk a little bit about
You know, sometimes it's being in the right place at the right time. I didn't know anything about commercial real estate growing up as a kid. That wasn't something that I aspired to do. I thought I wanted to be an electrical engineer. And so I went to school at the Naval Academy, and through that experience, again, it goes back to relationships and networking. I had the opportunity to meet alumni who were in the commercial real estate industry, and when I left the Navy in '97, there were opportunities for me to join organizations and learn the business, and so I was able to do that, and it's been an interesting journey so far.
Ad is really fascinating, because you never know what job you're going to fall into sometimes, even though you think you're on one path. I like what one comedian said one time. I love this line. It says, the reason when kids ask, when you ask a child, what do you want to be when you grow up, it's because we're looking for ideas.
Right, exactly.
But no, that's excellent. And some of the things too, and this blew me away. This sounds very impressive to me, pretty impressive. Some of it I didn't understand. I wanted to check with you. When you said one of your achievements, you helped a healthcare company save $3 million in annual operating expenses through a corporate office portfolio disposition strategy. Explain that a little bit. I read that a couple times and like, what? I got to ask Jerry about
I mean, the concept is pretty straightforward, and I had the opportunity to work with this organization as sort of an extension of their corporate real estate department. And so as every organization goes through those periods of times where they're looking for cost savings, they're trying to be creative in how they do it, and they're trying to be efficient with their workspace. And you see more and more of that today.
Right.
And so this was an opportunity to sit down and actually come up with a strategy that put real estate that they owned or leased in various categories, and help derive a strategy that said, that governed how they managed that real estate, whether they owned it, whether they leased it, which markets they leased it in. Should it be in a CBD, or should it be in a suburban area where the cost might be a little less expensive? Where are their clients? Where are their employees coming from?
And what's CBD?
Oh, the commercial business district.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
But
should I know
you
that?
take a client through an exercise like that, and it helps them think about what's important to their business mission, and then cost savings opportunities start to fall out of that. And so whether it's disposing of an underutilized property, or redeveloping a property, or consolidation, it all becomes part of this overall strategy.
Is a lot of it that you find through the years a light bulb that goes off with some of the clients, or to you some of it's just common sense? Do you find that, or is a lot of it so much planning and figuring out and blueprints and all that type of thing, or is some of it just like, here's what you got to do? It's as simple as that.
Every client engagement is different. Every situation is different. I mean, there are things you can take that you learn, obviously, and try to apply it, but it all comes out a little differently. And so I think it's important to really listen to clients, to really understand what their goals and objectives and motivations are, and where their hot buttons are. Who are the stakeholders? Who are the decision makers? And to look at every situation fresh.
Sure.
One example of that was the company I sort of grew up working with. A lot of times you use packaged financial modeling tools. In our particular group, we started every model fresh with the new spreadsheet, because it forced you to think about the operation and the model, how it operates, and how those financials sort of play into it, versus trying to go to a cookie cutter solution and spitting out an answer that may be close, but may not be custom.
Right, right. A couple others on this list that just was fascinating to me. It generated over $30 million in annual revenues, managing a 730,000 square foot trophy office building in New York City, and you represented Fortune 500 companies in more than 3 million square feet of commercial lease transactions across the United States. I mean, that's quite the accomplishment.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of folks who are doing a lot of great things in commercial real estate. I was fortunate. I actually started my career in New York City. And it was a trophy building for a large multinational company. And so I learned commercial real estate as an assistant general manager managing a property on New York Avenue. So those numbers get big pretty quickly when you're in Midtown Manhattan.
I mean, those are, like I said, are some great accomplishments. Were there any other either personal moments where you knew this is where I want to be in the business world, like either working with a client or a moment where you either got a huge thank you or the response was great? Is there something, you know, in all these years or in these past 4 months in the new job that just sticks with you?
You know, there's every day you have little victories, and I think it's important to celebrate them all.
Sure.
And I'm trying to think what really sticks out in my mind. I had the opportunity to work with a great team with a real estate investment trust. Was my most recent opportunity. Spent 6 years there, and we worked on a pretty significant project that took a lot of effort from an entire team of people to be successful with. And you know, I felt like I had a key role in that success. And it came at a time when the economy was, this was 2008, the economy was suffering, and real estate was one of those four-letter words at the time. And this was an opportunity that put us in a good position for the next 3 years. And it was a big win for us.
That's great.
And so that was a pretty exciting opportunity because it was a team effort, and it allowed me to exercise some personal leadership and to really be a part of something bigger than me.
So like you say, it definitely was a challenging time.
Absolutely.
That's
absolutely.
That was a scary time and a scary business to be in at that time and not knowing. And how many in the company right now with you?
Me, it's just me and another.
It's
so
just you
I'm growing. I'm trying to get to 5 to 8 in the next year or so.
Great.
Looking for entrepreneurs and professionals.
Great. And then and you're located where? Exactly?
I'm in Bowie, Maryland.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
And it's during Monday to Fridays, obviously.
The interesting thing about this business, there's no set out.
I was going to say,
so
this could be
you do what you need to do to be successful, and I think the successful real estate professionals, they don't punch a clock. They work early. They work late. They think about clients on the weekends. And they're always moving the ball forward.
And that leads into another question about, you know, business professionalism and advice, words of wisdom. You've been in this for a while, but now you're on a brand new venture in these 4 months. What are some words of advice, words of wisdom, experience that you could give to, say, a new business or a new business person who wants to get started?
Figure out what it is that you do well and do that. Focus on it. It's easy to, especially with the diverse experience that I've had in real estate, whether it was property management, facilities management, tenant representation, corporate services, or development, it's easy to sit back and say, well, I can do all of that. But you really can't. You have to focus on something and grow from there. And so that, to me, that's the biggest lesson learned over the last few months is you can't be everything to everyone.
Excellent words of wisdom there. And do you have time to have fun sometimes? This business seems to keep you going. I know Bill Twyman, I had to bring him up. He said he's a golf partner with you. He's a new member of the chamber. He said, give Jerry a little bit of a tough time. I said, I can't do that. But
you know, I haven't played golf in a long time. Just trying to get business going. But and I never was a golfer anyway. I have clubs. But Bill's a good guy, and a few years ago, I had the opportunity to, for several years, volunteer for the nationwide tour golf tour when it
he
was
mentioned
here
that. That's
in Prince George's County.
great.
So that was always fun. And then working with on several boards with Johns Hopkins, was on their Alumni Association and the executive committee for several years, and with Project REAP for several years as a board member. So
and you attended Johns Hopkins as well, right?
Yes.
Yes. Excellent. Johns Hopkins, the Naval Academy, and George Washington.
Correct.
And then you said, when we were talking earlier,
the rest of the family's got the rest of the Georgetown and
Georgetown
got
covered.
That's right.
Tremendous. And do you have like a business motto that you live by, or a slogan or something through the years, or a quote that you live by? Since I'm, a quote guy as well.
Sure.
Love the good
quote.
Quote.
I don't have a quote. I just try to do a couple things when I'm working with the client. One, make sure that I'm aligned with what their goals and objectives are. So I'm working on their goals and objectives as hard as they would.
Sure.
And then the second, and probably the most important thing, is to always do the right thing, because it's the right thing to do at all times. So if I adhere to those two things, everything else I think will be fine, because if I'm always thinking about my client in their best interest, and then I'm doing the right thing, it'll be okay.
Excellent. And anything, Jerry, that I didn't ask you about that you'd want to share with the viewers, or that you want to say?
I don't know. I think you did your homework and you've got it all covered. I'm as a new business owner, you're always looking for opportunities, and it's just staying persistent with it and staying focused.
Exactly. Persistence, right.
And, I'm learning something every day. And I do have one more advice that someone gave to me, and they said, never be afraid to hire someone who's smarter than you. And I'm definitely not afraid to do that.
Excellent. Oh, that's great. It's a great
just
business
trying to
tips.
Absolutely, just
Fantastic.
trying to find those individuals and help them be successful.
Fantastic. That's excellent, Jerry. Excellent. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thanks, I appreciate it, David.
So glad to have you as the first guest here. For the last couple of minutes on the show today, I'd like to tell you about some upcoming events sponsored by the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce. On August 22nd, from 11:30 to 1:30 at the Comfort Inn in Bowie, the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce and the Public Safety Committee will hold the 3rd Annual Bowie Public Safety Appreciation Awards Luncheon. This event honors those first responders who have performed in an extraordinary manner within the city of Bowie, and also affords all of us the opportunity to recognize the sacrifices that all our police, fire, and EMS men and women do on a daily basis that keeps all of us safe in the city. There are also sponsorships available, and for further information on this event, you can contact the Chamber office at 301-262-0920 or visit info@bowiechamber.org. This event, last year, over 100 people attended the awards luncheon, and this year the guest speaker will be Joe Aiello, a retired Prince George's Sheriff Deputy and also a Bowie volunteer firefighter, and he's also been a Bowie resident for over 50 years. So please check out our website and visit us, and please plan on attending this event. Also, on Thursday, September 18th, is the 5th Annual Bowie Women's Expo. It's called It's All About Us, and there's dinner and great networking opportunities. Keynote speaker is Angie Duncanson, and there's a lot of local vendors. And just by attending the event, you will be supporting the Women in Business Scholarship Fund. So again, check out our website for information and how to register, and for cost information as well. Again, thank you for joining us. And again, Jerry, it was a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
And we thank you and appreciate your business.
Thank you.